One of the most popular luxury car brands in the world is Audi. However, to put it mildly, the German brand's roots are convoluted and colorful. Every vehicle manufacturer's name has a backstory. It might be anything as straightforward as the name of the family who created it, or it can be an abbreviation for a word or phrase that nobody seems to remember. However, the background of Audi is slightly more fascinating. Let's examine the past of the German company Audi in our video series on car history. Technically, the Wanderer Company, which eventually became a part of Audi, formed Audi way back in 1885. However, August Horch founded A. Horch & C. in Cologne in 1899, and in 1904 he went on to found the August Horch & C. Motorwagenwerke AG. This didn't last long though, and in 1909, Horch quit Motorwagenwerke to start his own business, August Horch Automobilwerke GmbH. You may have observed that the names of all these companies seem quite similar, as his previous employer undoubtedly did. The Supreme Court consented to their lawsuit against Horch for trademark infringement. After that, Horch had to give his business a new name. In 1910, Audi introduced their first automobile, the Type A Sport Phaeton. The Type B, its replacement, was also introduced in that year. Both had great success, especially in athletic competitions. In the Austrian Alpine Run, Horch guided his group to 3 straight triumphs. Horch left Audi in 1920 to accept a prominent post as Minister of Transportation, but during his brief tenure there, he established the company's reputation on a global scale. Shortly after he departed, Audi produced the Audi Type K, the first left-hand drive vehicle made by a German automaker. This took over in the 1920s because it improved drivers' visibility of incoming vehicles. The amalgamation of 4 businesses is how the Audi logo was created. Jürgen Rasmussen, an engineer, bought the bulk of Audi's shares in 1928. Soon after, the business combined with Horch, a former rival of Audi, Rasmussen's DKW Wanderer, and the 4 interconnected rings were produced as a result of the merging. Funny enough, you may have also noted that this symbol resembled the Olympic rings. In 1995, the Olympic Committee finally decided to sue them as a result of their behavior. The outcome was as expected. The court determined that the Olympic rings and the Audi rings were unrelated. The 2 logos coexist so peacefully. After the new collaboration was established, Audi's focus shifted to technology, which has since remained essential to the brand's identity. Audi was the first European automaker to introduce a 6-cylinder, front-wheel drive vehicle in the early years of the Auto Union, the front of the Audi. But it didn't take long for attention to shift to the German war effort. The company started building armored vehicles for the military. Naturally, this made them top targets for Allied bombing, and this had a negative impact on output. After the war, Audi discovered that the Auto Union was no longer a viable organization and that its Zwickau facility was located deep inside the GDR, which had Soviet influences. Under Soviet military instructions, the factories were demolished as part of the war reparations. Germany's Auto Union was virtually destroyed when Auto Union AG was removed from the business register in August 1948. That wasn't the end, of course. The management of Auto Union considered moving what remained of the business to West Germany, where they established a spare parts facility in Bavaria. It's interesting to note that the Zwickau facility resumed assembly in 1949 and produced vehicles for East Germany. This plant is where the Trabant was produced. The Trabant was revered as a representation of East Germany and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. East Germany was incredibly desirable, noisy, sluggish, and unpleasant. In 1949, the reconstructed corporation was put into operation with the aid of the Marshall Plan. They kept making front-wheel drive automobiles. They were forced to find another location to rent their premises because there was no facility available to mass assemble cars. Only 10 years later, an investor had the money to build a significant auto manufacturing plant. In the Auto Union, Daimler-Benz first acquired an 87% stake before increasing it to 100% in 1959. However, they had little interest in compact 2-stroke vehicles, and the company's older product lines did not profit from the 1960s boom in the same manner that its rivals did, so they threw it away. However, the Auto Union was now equipped with a sizable facility and prepared to start making 4-stroke engines. Volkswagen owned 50% of the firm in 1964, The brand new plant was subsequently purchased by them 18 months later, and it was utilized to produce more Volkswagen Beetles. Having purchased the company with the goal of boosting its own vehicle production, Volkswagen was initially wary about Auto Union developing its own vehicles. However, the first Audi 100 was created covertly by the engineers of Auto Union. Fortunately for them, Heinz Nordhoff, the VW chair, was impressed and demanded that the automobile be produced. When the first-generation Audi 80 was introduced in 1972, the Audi name officially returned. The series of four-stroke models 60, 75, 80, and Super 90 came next. In 1986, 6 people who had sued Audi because their Audi 5000 experienced unwanted acceleration were featured on a 60-minute segment that aired in the United States. Between 1982 and 1987, this unintentional acceleration was blamed for 700 accidents and 6 fatalities. It's interesting to note that a later inquiry into the 60 Minutes show revealed that they had really planned the failure. According to another NHTSA review, the majority of cases of unintentional acceleration were caused by driver error. The idle stabilizer mechanism was found to have a tiny flaw, but it only slightly accelerated. The driver's subsequent terror, as a result, increased the incident's seriousness. Starting with the turbocharged Quattro, the first four-wheel drive sports coupe in the world in the 1980s, Audi's contemporary age has shown itself to be as technologically creative as ever. The formal name of the business was abbreviated to Audi AG, and this marked the beginning of the company's transition to the luxury market. The Audi 80, which was gaining a reputation as a grandfather's car, was replaced by the Audi 90, a considerably more upscale and sophisticated vehicle, in 1987. With the introduction of the Audi 5.8, Audi entered the high-end market and began to compete with brands like Mercedes-Benz and BMW. In the middle of the 1990s, Audi unveiled a new line of automobiles. The company still strives for innovation and top performance. Audi proposed an all-aluminum vehicle, and in 1994, the Audi A8 was released. This model introduced aluminum space frame technology, which reduces weight and increases torsion stiffness in comparison to a traditional steel frame. Audi employed examples of the Type 44 chassis made of aluminum as test subjects for the method prior to that endeavor. The aluminum frame's drawback is that it is highly expensive to repair and needs a body shop with experience working with aluminum. The Quattro four-wheel drive technology, which is standard in most markets, somewhat offsets the weight decrease. Sales increased significantly in the 2000s, which carried over into this decade. May 2011 marked record sales for Audi, which is a global manufacturer with plants in 7 different nations. Audi did, however, acknowledge that the VW emission scandal had affected at least 2 million of its vehicles in 2015. Additionally involved were the A6 Quattro, A7 Quattro, A8, and A8L. Audi reported higher sales despite this. That essentially takes us up to the present. Like its German rivals, Mercedes and BMW, Audi is a premium brand that is well known worldwide. The company has kept up with technological advances, including diesel engines, aluminum bodywork, the Multitronic Continuously Variable Transmission, or CVT, and distinctive SUVs. The American market has recovered thanks to this invention, and it has been successful on the racetrack, setting 7 world records. Audi SUVs are expected to account for half of all sales, and the company's flagship SUV, the Audi Q8, will go on sale the following year. It's all for the history of Audi. Give your feedback in the comments section, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel Car History. The channel Car History.